handicap than a second skin if you really think about it. Speaking of lack of control over something you greatly depend on, the category hosting the most amount of champion failures would be team-dependent champions. While the game's premise is about 5 players working together to achieve victory, most champions are inherently self-sufficient. Any synergy they have with other champions is pure secondary coincidence. A good example of this would be Yasuo. His last breath can only be used on displaced targets, and though he would be more than happy to have a Malphite or Zac on his team, it's not necessary for him to do the things that he can. He has his own knockups through Steel Tempest. The same can't be said for everyone though. Both Rel and Lilia demonstrate this. Contrary to Aurelion Sol, these two actually have pretty comfortable playstyles, fun even. Rel's one of the more interesting tank designs I've seen since she actually have pretty comfortable one though. Both do the things that he can. He has his own knockups through Steel Tempest. The same can't be said for everyone though. Both Rel and Lilia demonstrate this. Contrary to Aurelion Sol, these two actually have pretty comfortable playstyles, fun even. Rel's one of the more interesting tank designs I've seen since she has 2 different stances and her CC combo potential can supply enough lockdown for her team by herself. Lilia and Hecarim are quite similar in that they both have wide sweeping Qs and revolve around movement speed for most of their gameplay. However, Hecarim is about head-on confrontation whereas Lilia plays more like a hit and run. Why Rel and Lilia didn't see that much success is one word: teammates. Both champions have far more presence in pro play than they do solo queue because they bring some of the strongest teamfight engage I've seen from a skirmisher jungler and tank support respectively. Rel's combination of engage, while potent, requires her teammates to know exactly when she's gonna go in, as her lockdown can hit many targets at the same time, but not for very long. Attract and Repel not only needs a tethered ally to be within range, but it's only a half-second stun. She doesn't have the same kind of 50-year CC chain the way Nautilus and Leona do, nor does she have the same damage as them. As for Lilia, her ultimate is a massive sleep on any champion that is affected by her passive, which can potentially hit all 5 members of the enemy team. Problem is, unlike Zoe whose paddle star hits like a truck, Lilia doesn't have an ability that can reliably nuke the entire enemy team on her own, so she usually depends on her teammates to bring in the wombo combo for maximum effect. Champions that depend on their team for a significant portion of their gameplay are inherently prone to fail in solo queue because that would indicate they're missing something in their kit that needs to be supplemented externally, and that won't be available to you all the time. In case you're wondering why this doesn't apply to all support champions, it's because the engaged supports like Pyke and Rakan can do their job regardless of situation, Yuumi becomes untargetable, and champions like Senna and Seraphine are both self-sufficient. They don't need an AD carry. The last category does have good usability and can take care of themselves, but don't do enough of their job to make a difference. That's where Nico, Tahm Kench, Taliyah, and Xayah fall under. Unlike the second group, there's nothing in their kit that's completely absent. Tahm Kench, even pre-rework, had everything he needed to be a complete champion, which is why he was able to go top lane. Nico's Tangle Barbs, at least the empowered one, last long enough for her to follow up with Pop Blossom, and despite technically being designed around her synergy with Rakan, Xayah doesn't need her man for anything, she can do everything by herself. Taliyah as well. She can force enemies to trigger Unraveled Earth even if they don't have a dash thanks to her seismic shove, and her threaded volley is a very serviceable damaging tool. But having made a why no one plays on all 4 of them, the commonality between them is that whatever they do doesn't go above and beyond the call of duty, which is kinda sad because I'm essentially saying they're failures because they're balanced. Sure, each of them have moments where they shine, but not bright enough to where players would consider picking them over any other champion in the game. A simple solution to that would be to just buff their numbers, right? Not exactly. If a champion has a moderate or high play rate only when they're overtuned, that's a sign people only play them because, well, they're overtuned. That's what happened to Taliyah at the start of this season, and that's what's happening to Tahm Kench after he got reworked. Don't get me wrong, high statistical performance does play a part in the loyalty of a champion's player base. A good number of people play Lee Sin because he's one of the best early game junglers even when he's weak, but it shouldn't swing so far in one direction or the other. So those are the 3 main causalities behind champions failing in League of Legends. They either feel really awkward or uncomfortable to play, they place too much dependence on outside sources, namely their teammates, just to do their main job, or they just don't do quite enough, and can only really be viable when they're overbuffed. I only went through champions that came out after Season 5, but you honestly can fit older champions into one of these 3 categories too. Now, just like how in Bell's Nightmares I talked about how it's unclear as to whether or not it's the champion's fault or the community's, that applies even more so in this one. I know what some of you are thinking, people don't play Tahm Kench because he's a fat catfish, or people don't play Aurelion Sol because he's not an edgy anime swordsman. Look, as much as I know recent champions all look like hot chiseled anime characters, I seriously doubt that it actually matters because there are some very attractive champions with low pick rates. Pantheon is the chaddest Chad who ever chatted, and he doesn't get that much action nowadays, but I digress. Common perception towards successful champions has certainly shifted in the past few years, and it's reflected in the rise of what we expect in newer champions. At the time, Aurelion Sol was one of the coolest things we've ever seen. He had the most unique kit out of any champion that came before him, but if we were to release him now after seeing Akshan, Viego, and Aphelios, he wouldn't be all that crazy, so we can't disregard the passage of time having a key influence on certain champions failing in air quotes. All the same, there's the possibility that the few who do play those champions think otherwise. Maybe Nico One-Tricks love her the way she is, or Lilia players think she has everything she needs and I'm just spitting garbage out of my mouth. Who knows? Anyway, that's going to be it for today. Let me know your thoughts on failed champions in the comments down below. Again, not a personal attack to anyone's main, just looking back at how things went for the ones who never really became mainstream past their initial hype. But if you enjoyed today's video, it would be awesome if you could leave a like, subscribe to the channel if you want to see more content like this, don't forget to follow me on my socials and join my Discord server if you haven't yet. Also, check out my other videos after this one. I have a ton of discussion topics that might interest you. Until then, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you again soon for the next one. Take care.
La justicia es una mentira de los poderosos. Yo tengo mi propia verdad. Mi alma vuela. No toda luz es un regalo. He visto a mentirosos elegir la virtud y a divinidades hacer trampa. Tal vez hoy vea cómo estornuda un Jordan. Camino para poder sentir cada fractura de la tierra. Prefiero a un pecador honesto que a un justo mentiroso. Les mostraré lo que significa caer. No escondo mi dolor. Lo utilizo. Caminar descalza, la piel contra el suelo. Esa es la gracia verdadera. Mi hermana cauterizó su herida con luz sagrada. La mía permanece. Son estos enemigos quienes nos moldean. Somos la suma de nuestros errores. Mis pequeñitos, ¿dónde están? Quienes vuelan en las nubes no alcanzan a ver la vida. Aquellos que juzgan se condenan a sí mismos. He soportado cosas peores. La sombra no es tan oscura como parece. las lecciones equivocadas. De vuelta a la batalla. Prefiero a un pecador honesto que a un justo mentiroso. Estos ciclos mortales comienzan de nuevo. He soportado cosas peores. Vuelan entre las nubes, no alcanzan a ver la vida que hay debajo. Yo no caí en desgracia. Salté hacia ella. Dicen que soy mala. ¿Puede confirmar su parecer? Me muevo con los mortales mientras ella languidece con sus ideales arrogantes. Algo. Creo que es sofocante. corazón roto aún late.
Hey everyone, before we get into today's video, I just wanted to give a huge shout out